Hi, everybody. Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. And tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show, we're going to be talking about severe weather across the plains and parts of the eastern U.S. Smoky conditions over the Great Lakes, and we are going to see smoky conditions return to the Northeast over the next few days. We've got excessive heat across the South and Southwest. We'll talk about the upcoming weekend and the 4th of July holiday. That's tonight at 7:35 p.m. Meanwhile, as we take a look at what's going on this afternoon, this cold front has not moved very much since yesterday. It's pretty much in the same spot in eastern Pennsylvania, or the eastern half of Pennsylvania, and extends down into Virginia, western North Carolina. It's passed through northern Georgia, and then runs stationary through northern Alabama and Mississippi, snaking back through Oklahoma. So that's actually helping to set up the severe weather that is going to be going on in parts of the plains tonight. But here in the Northeast, we still have this bit of a warm sector. It's set up in southern New England, southern New Jersey, down into Virginia, and into North Carolina. Clouds have helped to hold temperatures down somewhat today. We don't have as wide a contrast in terms of the warm sector like we did yesterday, but we've got enough juice in the atmosphere that we're starting to see lightning strikes across eastern Pennsylvania and back into Maryland, and you see the rotation on the satellite loop. That's the upper trough that continues to make very, very slow progress eastward. And we're beginning to see clouds bubbling up across the plains. That's going to be setting up some severe weather for tonight. Here's a close up view, and you see the lightning strikes in eastern Pennsylvania. In the Northeast, we see the possibility of some isolated severe thunderstorms. The main issue today is going to be heavy rain from these potentially slow moving storms if you get under them. And you can see on the radar, just give it a quick refresh here. We do have a few severe thunderstorm warnings in the area in Pennsylvania, down into Maryland and northeastern Virginia, some storms in the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area. Also, some thunderstorms just to the east of Harrisburg and southward from there along I-81, and they're pushing northward up into parts of northeastern Pennsylvania. So those areas yesterday in western New Jersey and eastern Pennsylvania that got heavy rains, they're all under flood watches this evening. So any one of these thunderstorms could cause some local flooding. Many places yesterday got as much as 5 to 6 inches of rain. We see some showers and thunderstorms up in Vermont, some showers in coastal Maine, and to the south in the southern plains, beginning to see some development here of what eventually will be some severe weather. Storm Prediction Center has a marginal risk running through the eastern half of New York State, through the Catskills, all of New Jersey. It cuts off at New York City, back through eastern Pennsylvania, just west of I-81 is where the back edge of the marginal risk is, and that goes into eastern Virginia, eastern North Carolina. Isolated severe thunderstorms possible here, and again, heavy rain, the bigger issue. And in the plains, we actually have a moderate risk of severe weather tonight in a small area in southern Kansas. The tornado risk is just 2%. It's the wind that could be an issue. There's a 45% probability of damaging wind gusts of 50 knots or higher, and a 10% or greater probability in this large hatched area of 65 knots or greater in terms of wind. You see here in the east, the wind issue is only at about 5%. So not obviously not like yesterday where the severe weather was more widespread in some areas. Tomorrow, general thunderstorms in the northeast, area of slight risk back in Wisconsin and Minnesota, marginal risk across Mississippi, marginal risk across parts of the plains. And then as we move on to day 3, which is Thursday into Friday, you see a slight risk in Illinois into Indiana, marginal risk surrounding that, some general thunderstorms in the northeast, and some general thunderstorms in the southeast. Rainfall over the next 7 days, looking at anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to an inch and a half. From the Ohio Valley back through the Central Plains, and we do have pockets of 2 to 3 inches there in Nebraska. Also in northern New England, where we see pockets of 2.5 to 3.5 inches. Mounts tail off as you head further south, 3/4 of an inch to an inch down into the Carolinas and North Georgia. We'll pick up a little bit again in South Florida, and also a half to 3/4 of an inch up in Minnesota and Wisconsin and over into North Dakota. So we've got this upper trough, we've got this cold front, some scattered thunderstorms running around this evening. Some of you will get them, some of you won't, and then they'll go out. We've got the front on top of us on Wednesday that might set off another shower or thunderstorm, especially north and east up into New England. Less of a chance as you go south and west. And then finally on Thursday and Friday, we're going to dry out nicely. So temperatures for tomorrow, upper 70s to low 80s. Will probably be into the low 80s on Thursday, let's say 80 to 85. The humidity is going to come down a little bit. Friday should be low to mid 80s just about everywhere. And then we have to deal with the next series of disturbances and weather fronts pushing eastward that'll open the door to the possibility of some scattered showers and thunderstorms in the northeast and mid-Atlantic states on Saturday into Saturday night. And then as a low runs up to the Great Lakes with a cold front moving east, we'll probably see some showers and thunderstorms running around during the day on Sunday, and may see them linger into Monday until the front goes out. And then it looks like we're going to have a pretty decent day for the 4th of July. Just want to mention one thing here with regards to smoky conditions in the northeast and mid-Atlantic states. It's not a problem today. They're all in the green. But look around the Great Lakes, and you've got areas in red reporting unhealthy conditions. The AQI numbers, which measures air quality, up at close to 200 or even higher in some places. We could check around Gary, Indiana, for example, is at 183. We saw Lansing there up in the 190s. Chicago or near Chicago, 170. So over the next couple of days, we're going to start to see smoky conditions spread into the Northeast, particularly as we get to Thursday. It looks like an area of heavy smoke may be moving southward into the Northeast. And we're going to talk about that tonight along with everything else on the Joe and Joe Weather Show at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. So we hope to see you then. Have a great and safe rest of your afternoon and evening.